and stuff you don't. It's the Ben and Bren Show.
You are our first. Well, there's a crossover because you play piano and sing, so you are a musician too.
Yeah.
But you're our first non-music industry
Really?
guest.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes. So
I'm
everybody,
excited.
welcome Leah McKendrick, the one and only.
Yay.
We're
Thanks for
so
having me, guys.
happy to have you here. This is the first episode of 2025.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh,
we're honored to have you.
Oh, I'm so stoked. This is such a comfy, cool vibe.
Yeah, so I moved out here actually 4 years ago on the 1st was my LA 4-year anniversary, and found this place when I was still living in New York, sort of just really luckily, and it's been a great place to make music, and there's room to do this, and so it's been a great space.
I love it.
So, Leah, screenwriter, director, actress, musician,
A little bit working on it.
quintuplet, quadruple.
Wait,
threat.
what? Oh, I thought you meant like she's you were a quint. You have
Have you
one
ever
of
met
five.
one?
One
that
of
would
five,
be
yeah.
epic to me.
That would be impressive.
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Well, they do those. There's extensive studies that are done on twins. Like if you're
Yes.
a set of twins,
You're
that's
connected.
and that's like good for the medical industry too.
Okay,
like,
so I
Yeah.
saw a meme the other day that was a pair of conjoined twins,
Yeah.
and
Oh, no.
I'm not laughing.
we're not.
Pair
Okay.
of conjoined twins. One of them, and this is also a meme, so it could have been complete bullshit. One of them is gay, one of them's not,
Oh fuck yeah!
and they only have one penis.
oh fuck yeah!
I don't think this is real, so we can
Wait.
laugh about it.
It can absolutely happen. Yeah.
I'm
that's-
Googling this as
Yeah.
soon as the podcast
yeah.
is over.
But they share one item.
Sensations.
Yeah, so that would be a.
What if
interesting
you didn't
experience.
feel like beating it, and the other one's just gotta take it? I guess.
Yeah, you're a
from also the
passenger.
sex that you're not attracted to?
Yeah.
Like what is that like?
At least you have a friend to laugh with
Yeah.
about it all.
Yeah.
I would love to have someone share all my sexual experiences and we could giggle over wine afterwards.
Yeah.
If you share a nervous system, like you gotta have some mind reading ability too, probably, right? Of your twin.
I'd assume
Like,
so. I mean, two different brains, but I would.
yeah.
Well, before we hit record, we were talking about like just that sort of power of the universe being able to feel these sort of unspoken communications that can like happen between people and society, and so that's got to be on a whole other tier as a
Yeah.
conjoined twin. would be
I need
crazy.
to know.
That's yeah.
I need to reach out.
I mean, conjoined twins are kind of AI-ish. Like, it's kind of like futuristic. Like,
It is pretty future.
I mean, I know it is a deformity and it's a sad situation that happens, but
it's probably also a superpower.
probably a
You
superpower.
probably
Yeah.
get like some like extra.
To know
levels.
another human being
that intimately.
that intimately
Yeah.
is like, it is a whole, think about mother and child.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
connected that way.
Yeah.
And then before you don't even remember it, that connection. The
Yeah.
mother does.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they remember everything.
Yeah, they remember it.
Would you be stoked, or what would be your reaction if you found out you were having triplets?
I would be so upset.
Yeah.
I would die.
not be
know.
thrilled.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a saint.
What about
okay?
twins?
yeah.
Okay, I thought for a long time that I wanted twins, boy-girl twins, and it was just my way of like hacking the system and not having to go through it twice. And
Just
I
get it done at
actu-
once.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually, when I was learning about the process of freezing my eggs, the doctor kind of gives you this like TED talk on how it works, and he was explaining to me that you take the eggs, you fertilize them, like in a petri dish. This is how it would work if I were to use my eggs. And then you would get to see which eggs are girls and boys and which are healthy. And I said, so you could implant me with boy-girl twins.
Oh, crazy.
And he goes, we don't prefer to do that. The body is built for one baby at a time. It can result with, a lot of complications. And so
Okay.
that's why any mom that has been through birthing twins, like, God bless her.
Yeah.
She has gone through it. And then triplets, I can't even imagine.
Triplets, I mean, twins would be insane.
Insane.
But like beyond that
Yep.
that would, be psychosis inducing.
Yes.
You're a
feel
big
like.
fan. We were talking off air about 90 Day Fiance.
Yes.
So I know you do. It seems like you like the reality shows like that. Were you ever into the like John and Kate +8 or like
Thankfully
Octomom
not.
stuff?
Yeah, that came out to be not the
Yeah,
best
not so great.
That was
thing.
not a
Not
good
so great.
situation.
Not
Didn't
great.
end well.
No, it
But
didn't end well.
that-
Yikes! What happened? He was a molester.
Raper.
Problematic.
He was a raper.
Yeah,
Oof.
No, he wasn't a raper.
He wasn't a raper.
I don't want to misspeak. I feel like we should Google this. But
Yeah.
it was a lot of problematic stuff was happening.
No, he was like a child pornographer guy.
the dad and John and
No,
Kate.
Wow.
Was it John? No, sorry. I'm not
We're
John and K
thinking
+8.
of the-
Not
of
John and K
the
+8.
religious
Clear the
family.
record. Yeah, the one from Arkansas.
Yes. What is their
the
name?
Duggars.
Yes,
The
that is
Duggars.
accurate. He was a
Okay.
molester.
Sorry,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Sorry, John.
Sorry.
Of his
I think he did
John
some
and-
fuck shit too, but
Well,
yeah.
they were, I think, were just like
Wasn't
a
great.
problematic
They were,
couple,
yeah.
like on a more just expected
Yeah.
level, like not like some severely
A lot of
unethical
Yeah.
stuff,
unethical, yeah.
but like just like they were just
All the things you thought were happening in a family like that, they were all happening.
Did
Yeah,
she
yeah.
have? Did she have 8 babies at once? No.
No.
It was
They're
just
just very religious, so they had
they just
like
had
10
them very
kids.
quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. See, well, that shows you how smart I am.
But the Duggars, that town, I forget what town specifically. They're like right where my parents live.
Oh.
Like they're like right in that.
Is that town like a fan of that? Were they like a hardcore, the town like in support of that show?
I don't know because the town, it's like the Fayetteville, Arkansas area, which is where University of Arkansas is. It's where Walmart started. So there's like it's like a pretty
Claim to fame, a lot of it.
area with like other things. So like that wasn't like
Number one.
like what put the town on the map kind of thing.
Because I went to St. Louis once, and it was like Nelly was everywhere. I no, don't laugh because I love him. I belong. I was like, I belong here because I love Nelly.
Nelly.
But it had also already been like several years since
Oh.
he was like topping the charts, and I mean murals.
Yeah.
In restaurants, his
Yeah.
photos, everywhere you went. It was
Yeah.
When
Nelly
he
City.
came on to the scene, I was like, we're the same age. Were we like 7th grade, maybe something like
Yes.
that, 6th grade?
Yeah.
Too young.
I was like, well, that's the hottest thing I've ever seen.
hottest
in my
thing
life.
I've ever
I
in
was
life.
like, well,
Did
Yep.
it have like the little like
Yeah.
Band-Aid or something?
Yeah,
everywhere?
yeah.
That was
And it
just
was-
like
He
a
was
fashion
the
it was
choice.
best.
adorable. It was cute. It was hot. Yeah. Yeah.
We were all into it.
My hometown of Dixon, Kentucky is famous for, well, there's like 700 people in my town. But 1,000-Pound Sisters used to live in Dixon.
Yeah, okay,
damn.
I know that.
You know that show, don't
I'm
you?
very into all of this, like
Yeah.
TLC, like all
Yeah.
of this. I love.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
Very brave.
they've since moved. I believe they're in the next county over. I think they moved. So we don't have to sign up anymore, for the 1,000-Pound Sisters. Nor did they ever. That was a joke, but that would be a fun thing to brag about, though. Home of the 1,000-Pound Sisters.
You know what? I also went to Kentwood, Louisiana, the home of Britney Spears.
Britney Spears.
Ooh.
Rented a car. I was shooting a movie in New Orleans, and my sister came to visit me, and I was like, obviously, we're gonna rent a car and drive to Kentwood, Louisiana.
Yep.
And she's like, obviously.
Of course.
There was nothing but a sign. The
That
entire
was
town
it?
was a sign and just like a few houses and like a gas station.
Well, it's probably like what, I don't know, 500 people that live there.
yeah, very small. Very
Yeah.
small, but still very
Limited
cool. I
Well,
took a
they're probably
picture.
pretty
Yeah.
bitter too that she left. They're like,
She has
she
a
used
house
to live
there.
here. Yeah.
Still.
She has a house there?
Well, she did it. I don't know what's happening
Her
now.
Instagram is crazy. I feel so bad. I mean, I love her. I want her. I've like
love her so
gotten
much.
drunk before and like sent her a DM, like just
What did
being
you
like,
say?
I'm here for you. Do you want to
I'm
hear? Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, can you please read it? Wait, I wonder if I have. I feel like that's really something I would do after drinking too much. I should check my
I
own.
had like an enormous amount of alcohol one night. Hold on.
Sheryl Crow is from a small town in Missouri, very near
Yes.
my hometown.
I love
Love
Cheryl
Sheryl Crow.
so
Love.
much. What an icon.
Yeah,
Also,
truly.
her new name on Instagram is Zila Maria River Red.
Britney Spears?
Yeah.
You know, we just don't ask too many
We
questions.
don't ask questions. I said in February 10th of 2021, watching the documentary, "You are a light, babe. Stay strong. I know you get a million messages, but I just really wish the best for you. You are loved. You are a light." As someone who's gotten a minuscule message like the one I'm sending you, be blessed. Don't ever forget you are loved. People are here for you. You have support and you are loved. She never read it, but it's
Okay,
in-
that's
it's in there.
beautiful.
If we
And-
ever
You
meet
put
each
the
other,
energy out
and
there.
if we ever meet each other and she follows back and like sends me a message, she's gonna be like, "Oh, that was so nice." Probably, I don't know.
No, I love that. I'm sure she read it. You know that when
She
you
didn't.
when
200 million followers.
maybe
it
she
slipped
did
through.
because when it goes to your like other folder,
yeah.
you can read things without it saying
Without
read.
it saying,
Yeah, that's
okay,
true.
well maybe.
So-
That's
Yeah.
true.
That's where when I read things and if I don't want to respond,
Yeah.
then I just leave it.
Two
There.
guests ago on the show, we had Emily, who has done a lot of vocal production in the past for Britney.
So cool.
yeah.
What did she say? Did she have any cool tidbits?
No, that's
was
kind of
back
she
in the
was
day.
like.
Yeah.
I mean, she recorded like so many of those hits.
She did the
like,
Circus
the
album.
First song
Oh my God,
she ever
Circus is so
recorded was Circus,
The first,
Wow.
well,
and
Emily-
the first song she ever wrote, Britney recorded.
yeah,
And I'm
like-
like, what is your life?
lottery.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah.
So
I mean,
we've
we love
done
Britney.
Conjoined Twins.
Yep.
It's off to a good start.
We started
Nelly.
talking about drugs off the air. Nelly.
Yeah,
That's
we
usually
could talk
the
more about
gateway.
drugs if that's what y'all are thinking. I'm getting excited because the days that I do my hardcore drugs,
Yeah.
I look forward to it's when I go to the dentist because I have to go a lot because I'm doing Invisalign.
Okay.
So I go every 3 months. They're like on you. They
Yeah.
own you.
Yeah.
Let it be known. If you just think, oh, maybe I'll just like straighten my teeth. Like be prepared for them to own you and like you see them more than you see your family. And I
You go once a month or
once every 3 months.
Once every 3
But you
months.
talk to them all the time. They're texting
yeah,
you
yeah.
constantly. And so I do the gas.
Yeah.
And I always say to my fiance, like, I'm off to enter the multiverse.
It's so
because I
great.
go places.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you? Have you done it?
I every time that I've ever had to do the gas, I ask them, I'm like, can you give me the max amount? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try
And-
that.
Yeah. And like when I used to go to the dentist, like my aunt's a dental hygienist, so sometimes I'll go get cleaned.
You got
at
the
home,
hook up.
And I'm like, hey, crank that up. And like they'll just be
Yes.
cleaning my teeth, and I'm like, can I have some gas? And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what they do. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
It's the only way I'm able to
It's-
handle
yeah,
this
it's
process.
good. It's a good way to get clientele returning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
ain't
dentists are
cheap.
hustlers.
People steal.
Dentists are straight up hustlers.
This is
I mean,
true.
doctors kind of are like they sort of, and I'm fully, pro doctor, pro medicine,
Yeah.
pro
Yeah.
vaccine, all of that.
Yes.
But they are some
But they're con
straight up
artists.
hustlers.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
they
they're
prey
scamming us.
on your ignorance of not knowing things. My dad's a podiatrist, or was. He's retired. And he I don't think he was so much like that, but like dentists are the
was. He
worst
was.
about it. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sure. He's a
they all-
businessman.
But the podiatrist can't really upsell you on anything. They're like, well, we got a new model of heel we could
Right.
put in there. The dentist can upsell you. Like, do you want
Yeah.
to whiten? Do you want this? Do you want the Invisalign?
You're
do
like,
you
I
want
guess
the,
I need all of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
Easier
dentists
to
have,
sell that. It's cosmetic.
Dentists
a lot
have
of
more
it.
Yeah,
opportunity.
Yeah.
But they're like orthodontists. Like I remember, did you ever have braces, or
I
is this your
did
first
for
time?
years. That's
Okay.
why it's very traumatic for me to
As
be
an
owned by them
adult, it's
again.
probably a little different.
Yes.
I had braces and stopped wearing my fucking retainer in
Well,
college. so the
same
bottoms
story.
were like-
Yeah,
Yeah.
same here. So
Yeah.
I'm back at it,
Yeah.
at it with the dentistry.
But I went to 2 dentists when I was a kid, and the first one my dad knew but didn't like really, really know, and so he was like, you need brackets on your whole entire mouth, which is like the standard of what they
Yes.
push. But then we went to this other orthodontist that my dad is homies with, and he was like, that's like not like necessary usually the case. They say that to max out
Extra
the sort of
$3,000.
bill.
Yeah.
But generally, it's like you only need them on select
Yes.
teeth. And so I got them on like my top front 8 and like, but I didn't get them on all of them from this dude who we were like friends with. And ever since then, like I remember this one dentist like he was like, you'd be a good candidate for veneers. I'm like, I've never had a fucking cavity in my life.
Yeah.
That's some bullshit.
Well, veneers are just to look pretty.
Yeah,
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Because I have cavity. I've got 2 crowns. I floss, brush, do all the shit.
It's a nightmare.
But I mean, they are important. They're definitely important. But you gotta be hip to their schemes.
I had to get an expander before my braces. Do you know what that is?
Was that when they put the little jelly?
No, they put
on the
metal in
top.
a metal cage in the top roof of your mouth that you have to wear for fucking 6 months or some
Did it
shit,
hurt?
maybe a year.
Oh my
And
gosh.
every night I have a little key and you crank it.
No.
And it goes further out.
I feel
Saw
like
style.
someday they're gonna look back on braces,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be like an iron lung. It's gonna be like
Totally.
so inhumane that this ever happened to us. This trauma.
Well, do you remember in like cartoons of like where it's like the whole
The
like
headgear?
headgear? It's like that. It's
I
like,
feel so bad for the kids that
Do you-
had to go
yeah.
through that.
Do you ever see the headgear anymore? What happened?
That's
their new technology?
The tech is phased way
I guess so.
past. Way
Invisalign
back.
happened.
or were the doctors like, okay, we've gotten away with this for too long.
enough.
It's time to cancel it.
Yeah.
I have
Gotten
so
carried
many.
away.
This is like also something I need to be Googling. You guys are bringing up so many. I'm lacking a lot of knowledge in
Well,
areas that I want.
This is a think tank.
This is a think
Ben and
tank, and
Bren is a think tank.
we don't fact check. If you saw the news,
Yeah, don't take anything
Yeah.
for fact.
Especially the part where we called John and Kate. John.
We
from
cleared the
John and
record. John
a
and Kate
raper.
is
Sorry,
not a
John.
raper.
I don't think he is.
It's
I
the
think
Duggar. It's the Duggar.
Yes,
It's
yes.
the
Sorry,
Duggar.
there was still some weird stuff with them, but anyway,
There was weird.
That was
stuff.
just probably just more like infidelity.
I
weird
think
stuff.
Yes.
so. Yeah, I think
Versus
so.
younger
like-
chick or something.
Yeah.
we need to brush up on that.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? What were we just?
Teeth, orthodontist, headgear.
I don't know. I'll think of it in a minute. Okay.
But so Leah,
Yeah.
you're from San Francisco,
Right.
correct?
Yep.
So I'm sure it's a long story, and we can get the full version. How did you end up in LA making movies?
I always knew that I was meant to be a pop star.
Okay.
So that's the first step. I've always known.
What were like the initial sort of inspirational moments in your infancy of
Thriller
okay.
was a really big one. I just remember being like 4 years old, like watching it like this because I was scared, but I just like loved it so much. And then Beauty and the Beast was a big one. Little Mermaid, like the golden years of like the animated Disney princess films were, I think me and everyone, all the little girls and some boys, I'm sure, were just like gagging for it. But my mom said that I was like, my grandma died. My abuelita was like my best friend as a baby. Like she lived with us, so we spent all our time together. And then she died when I was 2. And I don't remember any of this, but my mom said that she just found me singing in my room all the time. All the time. My mom's a therapist. And so she was like, she's self-soothing through her singing. I'm going to leave her to sing. And she was like, I think she might be an artist because she's obviously like in a lot of pain and not really understanding. She just knows that her abuelita is not here. She doesn't understand death or anything like that, even though I'm trying to explain some things to her. So I don't remember that, but I know that like singing always felt like an outlet, and I always wrote poetry and wrote song lyrics, and I just always knew what I was going to do. I'm going to go and I wanted to act and sing and dance and be in movies and do movie musicals, and like that was what I thought you could do growing up, seeing things like Thriller, where it's like horror film, it's music, it's pop music, dancing, it's like, so, now I don't think I really understood the concept that like movie musicals are very expensive and like not every movie is a musical. But back then that was always the dream. And then my parents just like were not the type of parents to like move me to LA. Like I would beg them. And when you see, like I was just watching Michael J. Fox's documentary and him being like, I want to move to LA. And his parents kind of like packed it up and his dad took him, and he was already immediately so talented and booking in his hometown. But like that just wasn't what I grew up with. They were like, you can go to LA for college and you can study whatever you want to study, but like you're going to college. So in my hometown, I did all the musicals. I had voice lessons, and I would perform a lot. And I would like hire dancers with my allowance who were just like my girlfriends. And I would like make my own costumes.
Entrepreneur early on.
Not totally. I mean, they would pay for like studio time for me to like record my demos. But they just really, they were hoping that I was going to grow out of it. And all the years
It's the
that
natural
passed,
parental
Yes.
desire.
Yeah, big time. And I
Doctor,
understand.
lawyer, please.
Doctor, totally. I think specifically with my parents, my dad is in real estate. I think they would have really, specifically my dad would have really loved it if I was like, I'm going to stay here and do real estate with you. Sort of like take over the company.
I mean, you would kill it.
I would
clearly
fucking crush it.
Yeah.
Like it was really hard in my 20s because I was so broke. And I was like, if I was in San Fran, I'd be driving a Beamer.
Yeah.
I would have like a dope spot. I'd be like rolling in it.
Yeah.
And because my dad doesn't like invest anymore. He just manages his buildings. So I would like make money managing one of my dad's buildings, and then I would like take his business because he was like not interested. And I was just like, that's just not, that's what I'll do if I ever choose to give up. Like that's
People will always
pretty,
want to live in buildings.
yeah,
and work
that's
in
a cushy
buildings.
fallback. But my dad would say, how long are we going to give this, Leah? Like, you're not making any money.
Was that hard for you to have that?
It was so hard.
Yeah.
It was so hard. I mean, I would always say to him, we're just going to give this 70 years. That's it. You're right. We're just 68 more years and I'll give it up.
Oh, man.
And that was like, I kind of had to like make a joke of it because it was so hard on me that I like, you already feel like a loser. Like, I know that I'm not making any money. I know that I'm like living in a shitty apartment with roommates and I have no AC. And like, I know I could be driving a dope car if I would come and go home to my hometown and like work for the family business. Like,
But that sounds so boring.
but it's so boring. It's so boring.
It's so fun to be poor sometimes. And like maybe like
Some of the most fun times of my life is when I had
that
$50
I talk
in my
about
bank
this
account.
all the time. I told my fiance the other day, it's so funny, that when I moved to LA, I went to college. I went to Chapman, so we were just like an hour away, and so like your whole class kind of moves at the same time. You're all broke. You only know each other. And I knew a few more people because I had been in the music industry. We'll get to that. But like, I moved with my college friend and we had no money and we got this shitty apartment in Burbank. We had no AC in Burbank. Can you imagine? In the summer. We shared a bathroom. I mean, tiny little shitty. I paid $600 a month. I remember that. But we were so stoked. We were so stoked to be in LA. We were in the same boat. All of our friends were in the same boat. We're all trying to get agents. We're all like auditioning. And those years, in many ways, they were tough times. But I said to AJ the other day, I was like, I wish I could move back to LA and try to make it all over again.
Yeah.
Like there was something really comforting in everyone being in the same boat. It's like, we're all broke. We're all trying to get an agent. We're all trying to get the audition. We're all, heartbroken over the job that we didn't book. And then it's like, we all booked a co-star. Oh my God, we have 2 lines on this show. Or like, we just booked our first guest star, or like whatever it is, or we just got an agent. Like all the excitement of how high those stakes felt. And then you get to your 30s and it gets a little dark because
yes,
you feel like you
100%.
should have made it and you should be like rolling in it and your family should be really proud of you. And then the dreams start to feel like curses.
Do you know what what affects it affected me to a degree, I suppose. And that they mean no malice by this, but like my grandparents, for instance, like instead of like just a little context for you, you don't
Give it
know
to
me that
me.
well, but like I've always been like made money live performance, like figuring out what gig I can have regularly, do this, do that, among various other things, but all creative stuff. Not necessarily always fulfilling work. Maybe I'm singing at a wedding. Maybe I'm doing this gig, whatever.
Yeah.
But I've always made money and always made more money than I ever did with any other job.
Hell yeah.
So that's, in a way, the success of it,
The
right?
dream.
You're sustaining your
Yes.
your life with, but then Instagram, social media, other people's careers, comparison is your
Yes.
enemy and makes you feel like shit because
Yes.
you're not here or whatever. Same thing goes for like my family has always been sort of like oriented like, well, how are you doing well? Are you supporting yourself? And I've always been in my head about I need to make money to prove that I'm a good artist or to prove that I'm this
Totally.
because of the way that our society is set up.
Yes.
And my grandparents always say this, and I don't fault them for this because they're old and this is just the way their outlook is
Different
on
generation.
But my grandmother will always say like, well, I just, I know you're going to make it one day. And I'm like, I know she means well, but it's like, I
have made it.
I am making
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like, yeah, it's like, it just, but I've never corrected her because it's fine. She
You
doesn't,
should.
She doesn't mean it in a bad
She
way
doesn't.
necessarily, but yeah, it kind of gets to me sometimes. I'm like, I am making it.
I think you could say something
Yeah.
like, I love that you always say that to me, Grandma. It makes me feel so supported.
Yeah.
But I've been reflecting and like, I've been doing this professionally and being able to pay my bills and take care of myself for like X amount of years now. And like, I feel like I have made it.
Wow, somebody goes to therapy.
Somebody also has had to have this conversation with
Experience
her
is the
family.
best teacher. Yeah.
It's tough for an artist, man. It's tough
Yeah.
out there.
Sure. It's also in relation to what you were saying. Your perspective shifts so much over the course of time.
Yes.
Doing it too. Like when you're in your early mid-20s or whatever, and you get that thing that like, today you might not be super thrilled about, but at the time you're like, oh, this is like one of my first big opportunities. Like
Yes.
it's like, and you get such a rush and such a sense of fulfillment of like actualizing your dreams.
Yeah.
And then life continues and continues, and you learn more, you experience more, combination of those things, and then it gets to a point where it's like it is your career, it is what you're doing,
Yeah.
but your relationship with these opportunities have changed, and you have a degree of expectation in place, and to where it's like, yeah, I should be getting these things. Whereas like at first, when you were first getting them,
Yeah,
it's like,
there's no
oh,
entitlement.
there's like, I got
Yeah,
this. And like,
yeah.
that's so thrilling. But then there's the phase of which it goes into, which is like the sustaining and the mind fuck that can come with that. And I feel like it's interesting too. I don't know if this is the way for you guys, but for me, it's like in my early 20s, I just wanted to be on tour and do all of this stuff, and you are thinking about it in the sense of doing it for your whole life, but you also don't really have a perspective of what some of these dreams mean for
Right.
doing them for 60 years.
Totally.
And how that experience would be different as a 60-year-old than a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
It's like going out and having to tour 200 days a year at 60 years old
Right.
honestly sounds fucking terrible
Right.
at this
Right.
point in life. But you don't think about as when you're young and your
No.
mind's still developing. So you don't have these sort of perspectives
Nope.
yet.
No.
I just want a goat farm
Really?
and a houseboat.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Do you just love goats?
All animals.
I love
really.
goat cheese.
All animals, really. I mean, I would have a cow or
Okay.
two, and like a donkey for sure.
Donkeys are awesome.
They're awesome, right?
Alpacas.
Yeah.
My mom and Brennan
Alpacas, yeah.
bond very strongly on the desire for alpacas.
We're gonna have
They're cool.
Our label's called Rocksaurus Records, and so we're gonna have Rocksaurus Farms eventually.
Mm.
My YouTube algorithm has now started showing me, rightfully so, people that are like friends or close family that like build a compound together.
It looks really cool
It's my
and
goal.
peaceful
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
lovely. My mom has a farm. in her country in Nicaragua.
Oh,
and
wow.
she has cows and chickens, and that's been her
lovely.
dream. That's always was her dream, and she's got
Does your mom live there?
half the year. So she does
That's
3
awesome.
months there, 3 months here in America, 3 months, and that's how my parents stay together.
So they are still together.
Spending half the year apart is how they
Smart.
are still
That's really
married.
cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it was a pretty chaotic household for my
Yeah.
childhood, and now they are quite peaceful.
Where's Dad?
He stays in San Fran. He still works, actually.
He's in San Fran.
Yeah.
And she comes to San Fran then
Yep,
too.
3 months
Yeah.
there, 3 months. So she goes back and forth, and my dad goes down there once a year and like stays and swims and hangs out for like a week or two.
That's awesome.
And yeah, that's how
That's
they,
awesome.
They have the like. She might have another family.
Who watches the farm? Yeah.
She might
Who
have other
watches the farm
kids.
when she's back over here?
She has workers
Yeah.
that she trusts,
Yeah.
but she's always. She says that like she's got to. Keep everyone,
Yeah.
everything in line. That's why she doesn't ever like stay away for that long.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot to
Yeah.
make sure is in order.
I don't want the
Yes.
farm like right this second, but like that's
It's
the
a lot.
goal.
It's
Yeah,
a lot
that's
to
the goal.
manage. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does sound lovely.
My family has like 400 acres in Kentucky.
Wow.
So I mean, I don't know that I would move.
I'm
back
from
to
San Francisco,
Kentucky,
so
but
that amount of like acreage doesn't even. I
It's
have
like-
no idea.
Yeah, I honestly
sounds
don't
big.
even really know.
Sounds
It's
like a
like the
lot.
size of Atwater, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah. Not
I
really.
love
Yeah,
Atwater.
it's Atwater,
But
I'm
kind
sure
of.
a lot
I
bigger.
mean,
kind of. It's a big chunk of it.
400 acres is a lot of land.
It'd be like from where we're at all the way past the street, all the way up to the Starbucks and beyond, probably.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
For sure.
Yeah. All this
Can have a
time.
lot of goats on that.
Can have a lot of goats. Yeah.
Have a lot of livestock.
Yeah. I watch a lot of just animal videos, just anything. People singing to donkeys or elephants and
Oh,
stuff.
I do love
it.
those
Yeah.
videos.
Have you seen the guy that plays piano for like
Yes,
the elephants?
it's
Why is that not my
beautiful.
job? I'm classically trained. I can do it right
It
now.
could be your
Yeah,
job.
it could be.
Let's go to Thailand.
Yeah.
Bring a melodica with you.
Yeah.
Fun fact, little tidbit, and then I want to get back into the story. Do you know who Vincent Price is?
Duh.
So
I'm
Vincent,
a horror nerd. I love Vincent Price.
he's my great uncle.
Benny, you have never told me this.
Yeah.
It comes out when it comes out.
Yeah.
You have been holding on to this information?
Well, I didn't know you were a Thriller.
I mean, I love
enthusiast.
Vincent
I mean,
Price.
everybody loves Thriller, but yeah, it's funny. There is like a family rumor that he might be my great grandfather as a result of intermarital
What?
affairs. But
That's
in
insane.
theory, he's my great uncle. And they lived over in Beverly Glen, where part of that family still lives. So that's a little more west from you, but yeah, fun fact.
Oh my God, I'm like starstruck. That's so cool, Benny.
Yeah,
He's such an icon.
truly, yeah. But most people
And a
today,
gay icon too.
Yeah, he was
apparently.
definitely
Yeah.
gay or bi at least. for
I've read
sure,
about that.
for sure.
That's
Had to have
so
been, had to have been.
epic.
But he had kids, so. But I guess a lot of gay
Didn't
people
they
had
all?
kids.
Didn't they
lot of
all
gay-
back then?
A lot of them
Yes.
had kids. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, funny.
So
funny.
cool.
Can we talk? Okay, so I really cannot wait to watch your film.
Yay.
Scrambled,
Yes.
which came out 2022.
No, it came out this year.
Oh, it was this year.
2024. Well, now it's
2024.
2025.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So
it-
it premiered at South by in 2023.
Okay.
And then we all went on strike. So I was waiting to see what we were going to do, and it wasn't a dark time in my life, but it was a dark time as far as my artistry, because I was like, I made this movie, it did
Yeah.
well at South by, and now we're just like sitting on it. And then the strike ended, and then Lionsgate, my studio, just took a big swing and put it in theaters.
That's
so it
amazing.
came
Oh, so
out
that
in
wasn't even
theaters.
planned.
No, I had no idea.
Oh,
I didn't know what was
crazy.
going to happen.
Crazy.
And I'm just super grateful to Lionsgate for the miracle that was them believing in it.
That's awesome.
And it's about your journey with freezing your eggs.
Yes.
And so how has that been? Are you going to have a child? Do you have a child?
I don't have a child.
2 cats.
I have 2 cats.
Those
Fuck
are the
yeah.
children.
Correct. And I love those fluffs. Well, I just got engaged.
Yes,
So
congrats.
Congrats.
thank you. So
Shout out AJ.
shout out to AJ. But so the process right now is the chaos that is wedding planning. We're getting married in New Orleans. We have an amazing planner, Michelle. So I'm enjoying. No, I'm not really enjoying, but I'm like, I have the best planner and fiance. So we're figuring that out. But Yeah, kids are like very much on the horizon, probably kid singular. Which is scary for me. It's a lot because I feel like, and you will see in the film, it's a lot about my sexual exploits. It's a lot about all the dudes I've dated and just being a quintessential bridesmaid single girl, which is like so truly me to my core. And my life suddenly looks so different because I've got this like quite demanding career. I have a house I live in with my fiance. We are very like obviously very quite serious and kids and families combining, and it just like my life looks so different than it did when I wrote Scrambled. And
When did you write Scrambled?
I wrote Scrambled at the top of 2021.
Okay.
Wait, is that true? No, I wrote it at the top of 2022 and we shot it a few months later. So I froze my eggs at the top of 2021. So a year after that, I wrote the script and we shot it really fast. I wrote it really fast. We shot it really fast. And so I just feel like it's like a time capsule for who I was then. And I love getting DMs from women telling me we're the same person. Like it's so sweet, but it's crazy because I go, I'm not that person anymore, you know, and how much you change when you meet your person and when you start thinking about the real shit that you don't think about that hard when you don't have the man in front of you. So yeah, it feels like a long time.
Isn't it strange that you can freeze the eggs and all the stuff, and then but we can't. We don't have the technology yet to freeze the human body yet, right?
It's on the way.
We do.
You can.
It's on the way.
They're freezing people. Cryopreservation. I don't know that we can bring anybody back.
Well, yeah,
that hasn't happened, but they
do
are
it to, like
freezing
Walt
bodies.
Disney and
Yeah, that's the rumors that Disney is.
But there's like some other people.
But there's like a billionaires can do it.
that they've done. They have frozen, or at least their brain or something, for the future possibility
that we figure it out.
Being able to access it.
I mean, I love talking about like AI and how quickly we're about to just jump leaps and bounds of technology. But
really?
like,
Is that what they're saying? Tell me.
Oh, I mean, just like the compounding effect of the technology that we're about to get into. Besides just the AI that we have right now, like ChatGPT, just knows all the information on the internet and
It's
can
crazy.
regurgitate that to you, which is awesome. But then the next phase is artificial general intelligence, which is above our level of cognizance.
Wow.
So it's going to be able to like solve way more complex things, think ahead, make predictions, do all of these things. But then in terms of the health side of it, like diseases being cured much more rapidly, the ability to make organs, you know, and be able to just like almost like a car, like replacing the engine, be able to like just, oh, you need a new heart, you need a new liver without another human, you know. Again, we don't fact check on the show, so some of this stuff it could be.
Brennan made all that up.
I could have
Google
just
this later.
yeah, but no, it's crazy. Like the
biotech.
I think that there's a possibility that our generation might be able to hack our bodies and be able to live way past 100.
Yeah, well, there's that guy.
Yeah,
Brian Johnson, just watched. I love him.
Have you seen the doc?
Yeah,
I have not watched
I've
it
gone,
yet.
I've got about most of the way through it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't even. I've seen so much of his videos. It's the doc is just kind of. I've already seen most of what he's talking about.
He's kind of a wacko, isn't he? Or
Okay.
do you buy?
Well, see,
I shouldn't have said that.
He's when I
No,
first
I second that.
when I first saw him, all of the media, and it talks about this in the documentary, all of the media was really portraying him as this,
Okay.
Jekyll and Hyde sort of
Yeah.
weirdo.
I don't
guy.
need the media to look at him and realize he's a weirdo.
He does have an interesting look to him and personality.
Yes.
But I think it's pretty admirable. He's not out to like, he has supplement or his code of vitamins and stuff that he like takes, you can purchase, but he brings it to people at mostly cost. There's not really a profit margin that he receives off of that. And he spent like millions and millions of dollars of his own money.
Right.
And goes through this rigorous schedule every day doing all this crazy shit to try to like
figure it out. Yeah.
And his story is like he used to live really unhealthily. He was not sleeping, you know, just trying to hustle and be a millionaire or whatever. But as I watched him more, I have much more respect for him because he is actually pouring his own resources into this research just for the betterment of mankind. Like, honestly, that's what it looks like to me, at least. I don't see any hidden agenda that he's doing anything malicious, like, but he's going through like stuff that none of us would want to do. I mean,
right.
He's waking up
look...
at 4 a.m. and working out and then taking 100 pills and then eating like probably really healthy food. Or it's really healthy food, and it looks like it's probably not that great. Like,
it doesn't
on a daily basis to have to stick to that.
How could it be? I doubt he's having
like
like mac and cheese.
I respect it. He does come off as a weirdo. I do.
I mean, I don't know enough to like make a firm.
Watch the documentary. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound interesting.
He's lowered his. I mean, he's takes metrics on this stuff all day. Doctors sign off on it and everything. He's lowered his, like, he has the heart of a 37-year-old. Like, he's almost 50, I think, himself or something like that, or in his 50s already. Like, so he's doing these things that are actually reversing the age of his body.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Isn't he getting some sort of transfusions from his son?
There was that they were sharing. He was getting a blood transfusion from his son's blood.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Generous.
Yeah.
Of his son.
Yeah. I mean, people. Yeah. I mean, biotech, all of that. That will increase, and I'm hesitant to think though that our generation will be, because that's like also. My mom and my stepdad talk a lot about this. Like when they were kids, they were like, "Oh, I thought by the time I was old, like death would be cured." Like they thought that. Yeah. So like,
wow.
I don't know. I mean, it's a different time.
It's weird thinking about it because you start thinking about it about this age. I mean, for me,
well, a lot of people start dying at like, I feel like
close to 40
when we're hitting this age group. Like, it's pretty crazy. Like but it's a circle of life. It's
30. I mean, just a few years ago, I was taking floor pills. You know, that I found. You know, so you know,
well, just yesterday.
Rolling the dice.
Yeah.
Got to keep your immune system strong.
I just got speaking of immune system.
Piece of candy.
I got allergy tested. They pricked my whole back.
Okay.
To see what I'm allergic to.
Has it come back?
Yeah, they do it. It comes in like 15 minutes.
Oh, wow. So
really
did
crazy.
you have allergies that you knew of before?
So it was like every type of grass.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
that seems like
that's a common one.
Yeah, I think so. And then it was like certain types of pollen and certain types of trees. But it wasn't any, so it was environmental.
No food.
No food. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because I don't spend a ton of time on rolling around in the grass.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Well, I do remember as a kid, I haven't taken the allergies test, so I don't know, but it's like you roll around the grass and you're all
red.
itchy.
You get itchy
Afterwards.
Yes.
So I feel like that's probably
Agreed.
a common thing.
Agreed. Yeah.
Are you a big foodie?
Yeah, I mean, I try not to adopt that term just because I think the foodies are really
they're aggressive.
They identify
They're
with it.
But I do love a great meal, and I love to splurge, and I love to go out. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love food.
Yeah.
Love food. Do you guys cook at all?
Yeah, we've been trying to cook more and more. I mean, this is like kind of crazy to think about, but I go, you know, I never grew up cooking. I wasn't taught a lot of that stuff, and which I think is probably pretty healthy, being a chick, and like my brother's a big cook.
Oh, nice.
So is my sister. It's just me, really. But I go, I guess if I'm thinking about parenthood, like I should know how to cook some stuff for my kid.
Well, it's not a requirement. You hear about a lot
Yes,
of parents
that's true.
that
I guess
get
that's true.
takeout or, it's definitely not a requirement.
But I feel like it's also family time, you know?
Yeah,
you want them
for sure.
to sit in the kitchen and do their homework while you talk to them and cook something. So all those things that make you go, oh, wow, this is the time. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. Like, I should start figuring some of this out.
Cooking's fun because it's creativity in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like it's like a fun little creative practice too. Baking is a little different because that's like literally chemistry, and if you don't follow the instructions,
It'll
it's
fall
not going
apart.
to work.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like cooking, you can like experiment and try things,
Yeah.
and
I love to cook.
yeah, it's fun. I like
That's
cooking.
awesome.
Okay, scrambled. Love some eggs.
What a great name for the
Yeah, it's a great
movie.
name. It's a great name.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so let's rewind. Brittany Stan, wanting to be a pop star.
Yep.
You get down to LA for college.
Yep.
What are you studying / doing in the early years of being in LA?
So I'm studying theater performance,
Okay.
and I'm so not invested in school.
So was the dream like Broadway or just theater?
No,
or?
the dream was to not go to school and
Yeah,
to
yeah. This is a
get
means
a
to an
record
end.
deal.
Yeah, yeah.
The record deal.
So that's what you wanted to do initially, was to be
Yes.
a pop artist.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Big time.
Didn't know this.
Oh, yeah. And like,
I see it. I still see it.
For sure. Yeah.
thank you.
For sure.
Just you wait. But it's interesting because I'm writing a movie about this right now for the first time. People have always asked me, why have you not written something that takes place in the music industry? And I think, as you will hear, like it has taken me 10 years. I'm still processing everything that I went through and the trauma, just the way that the business, I got a record deal at this transitional period in not just the music industry, but in like the globe, like globally, with the arrival of the internet and the democratization
Streaming.
of, like now anyone can create a song. Now anyone can shoot a movie. Now anyone can release music online and potentially reach everyone, everyone that has internet. So the gatekeepers changed. It was like this. Many of the gatekeepers were rendered unnecessary. And when you have spent your whole life searching for the Wizard of Oz, where you're like, I will reach the wizard and he will grant my heart's wish, which is to be a singer and he will give me my record deal. And then you reach the castle, Emerald City, and you realize the wizard has no power. I mean, it was a
great,
really
Great analogy.
Yeah.
Thank you. I saw Wicked, and I love Wicked. But that always resonated with me even before the movie. That I just thought that feels like my life. Like your whole life, you're taught about the wizard, the record deal, and so while I was in school, I didn't go to a school where you could like miss class. Chapman is a small private and they were really strict. But I was still always up here in LA recording, performing,
Where is Chapman?
showcasing. It's in Orange County. It's in Orange. So it's like
Okay,
an hour
yeah,
away.
yeah.
And so I was always up here. I was also still performing like in the Bay Area. So I was like living a double life. I was like Hannah Montana. And I like really didn't feel invested in school because I just felt above it, like truly above it. Like I was like, I'm only here because my parents made me come here. And I was meeting people in the industry. I was doing my thing. And it was after my second year, it was the summer after my sophomore year, where I thought I was getting a deal. And I had been like, told, oh, it's happening. And it just kind of all fell apart in my hands. And I'll never forget, this producer said to me, I was like, what do I do now? What do I do? And he goes, well, there's this new thing. It's called MySpace. Why don't you just go on that? And so I put my music on MySpace. And for the first time, I was like, well, maybe I should just try to be like normal, like a normal college kid. Like I'm in this school, my parents have paid for it. And so for the first time, I really started applying myself, and I didn't like the scenes that they would make us do in class for acting class. They were like regurgitated and they were like recycled for every year, every class. And I was like, I don't want to do this. And my professor, John Bennett, was like, you're doing this. And I was like, I'm not doing this. And he was like, if you can write something better, then I'll let you do that. And I was like, I can do that. And then I just started writing my own scenes for class. I would write scenes for other people. I started writing plays. If they wouldn't give me a theater, I would put it up on the steps. Like I just kind of went rogue because I think I was so used to having to be a self-starter and a producer of my own work as a singer that I found myself really frustrated in like a more traditional setting. But Chapman really, really, really was the perfect place for me because they never stopped me. I was like, I'm running. They're like, off you go. And I just kept running and doing my thing. And then somebody found me on MySpace. I found myself at a record label. And then I was sort of being handed around in management deals and like whatever. But I was really in it at school now. And I stopped thinking I was above anything because I was really feeling creative, fulfilled. I was directing, I was writing, I was acting, I'm making music, I'm like doing all the things. And so I'm really grateful for those years. Graduated, got my record deal, finally.
Nice.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm so behind. Because Brittany got her deal at 15 and I am 23. Like, oh my God, I have so much to do.
Hang it up.
Right?
Yeah.
So I go to East Coast. Thank God I kept my apartment here in LA because there was no time. There was like, here's your plane ticket, go to the East Coast. I fly out and I really was finally like, oh, this is where I was meant to be. I was meant to have my deal. I was meant to just be conceptualizing my music videos, my album, my songs, writing with producers in the studio all the time, morning to night. And then this was the recession. This was all the labels are folding. This was the creation of Napster and iTunes and YouTube. And like suddenly the label folded. And it never even occurred to me. Like I had a lot of friends with record deals and all of our labels were folding. And I had heard about being shelved, writing an album, they don't believe in it, they shelve you. That's the fear when you're an artist, when you're a new artist. And I was like, they won't do that to me because I will convince everybody. Like I'm not going to be shelved. But it never occurred to me that your label could fold. And it was kind of like all the artists are back to their hometowns. There's a bunch of artists living in this house. We're all from different.
Was
we're all
this in
different.
New York or
From the label?
This was in Atlantic City, outside of Atlantic City.
From the label?
From the label.
Okay.
We would record in New York, but we had a house that had a studio, had a dance studio.
Cool.
That sounds fun.
And I was the only female artist. And it was like, there was a cool hip hop artist. There was a cool like Justin Timberlake, like pop artist. We were all in this house together. And it was, lonely for me because I had left my friends and
Sounds like a dream. A house full of boys.
But it
Wow.
but it was a dream and it was really creative and I felt really proud of myself. And then it was like, you're all going home for the time being. And I went to LA and I was like, just completely shell-shocked. And everybody's like, where's the album? When are you going on tour? Where are the videos? And I had nothing but like a handful of like demo recordings.
Yeah.
And I just was like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. Like, they're probably going to need me to showcase again because I had to showcase. They're probably going to need me to showcase again. So I have to get my stage show ready. And I had no money because I had been spending all my money from my advance to keep my apartment, my car, and my life back here and, to pay for life.
And you have to pay that advance back?
Well, luckily for me, I didn't have to because they completely
They just sold
shuttered.
it. They're like, whatever.
But I never got paid that for the delivery of the album because there was no album that ever got delivered. But I was so depressed. I don't think I had ever experienced depression before.
Yeah.
That was the first time in my life that I went I don't know who I am, where I go.
Yep.
This has been my entire singular goal, my entire life. Without this, this is my whole personality. This is my everything. So I don't know who I am or what I'm supposed to do without this. It was so untethering. It was so debilitating. And I had worked for years as a counter girl, as a makeup artist. That was how I had paid my bills. And thank God, I came back, I had no money, and Chanel, who I had worked for so long, immediately was like, you want a job here? Do you want a job here? They just like set me right. But they did, even though I had been like, I got a record deal, I have to leave, I have to give up all my dates. They just were like, we're so proud of you, off you go.
Yeah,
and then here I come back a couple months later, they're like, here's your job back. Like it was really, that's why I love Chanel so much as a corporation, because they really did have my back at that dark time. And but I cried every single day for months and months and months. And I don't even think I realized that was probably depression. To me, it just felt nice to have a release. And I would just cry every day and then just kind of like wipe my tears and like go about my business. And I just thought I have to keep performing. And I think what it was like denial, and then this fear of like, if I stop, everyone will realize I'm a failure.
Yep.
If I keep moving.
It's crippling.
Yes.
And you have a series of reality changing events that you've had to adapt to time after time
over
after
and over
time.
again. Yeah.
And that changes your brain chemistry, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
are chemically depressed.
Yes, I think I was chemically depressed.
I just got on Lexapro a couple
Good for
months ago.
you.
It's great. Benny's
Lexapro
on
gang.
it. Lexapro Club.
What's
just
up?
upped my dosage the other day too.
Hell yeah, we
10
out here.
milligrams. Yeah.
Right on.
Did you get on antidepressants, or
I
did
didn't
you
because
just,
I don't think I knew. I was afraid to tell anyone just how
Yeah.
much of
You didn't
how,
want it to be true.
I didn't
So,
want it to
yeah.
be true. I think I was in denial, and I also was sorting through processing what had happened to me. And I preferred the narrative, oh, it's just for the time being, it's coming, then the label folded. And I went from having a record deal to having no record deal within a few months, even though I was living my dream for this like really finite period of time. And so I put together my stage show, and I was performing, and I started performing at the Viper Room and the Troubadour, and doing the thing with my dancers and working at the counter, which is the craziest part about LA, right? You're like working at the counter for $15 an hour, and then you're like, I gotta go. And then you're getting on stage at the Viper Room with like hundreds of people, which is like, that's I guess what it is, right? You're simultaneously broke and also like living a sparkly existence by night, a seemingly sparkly existence. And I remember just really crying because I thought, I don't think it's anyone new at my shows. I think it's like my friends, and I think it's a select group of people that follow me and appreciate what I do. But beyond that, I think it's just the same people over and over again, and I'm just completely going in circles. And everyone used to say to me, you should be on Glee because you act and you sing and you dance. You should just be on Glee. And I was like, okay, I'll go be on Glee now. But it was like so hard to get in, could not get in. My agents had dropped me because I had gone to New York to be a singer, my acting agents. And I didn't have any like big credits as an actress, just like indie films and stuff. And so I thought, I think I have to do that thing that I did in college, and I have to create the work I want to be in. So I wrote this web series. It was called Destroy the Alpha Gammas, and it was a musical about sororities at war, because I knew a lot of chicks that could act and sing and dance like me because of my time in the music industry and my time as an actress. So I just like called up all the do you want to come be in my show? Do you want to come be in my show? I have no money, but it's going to be awesome. We're going to shoot at UCLA. And I made this web series, and it ended up like, we were at every festival winning all these awards. Producers are calling, and I thought I was going to like sell the show. It didn't end up being sold to a network, but I had a million meetings, and more importantly than anything, I went, oh, that thing that I did in college, I can do that in the real world. Because the way that I have always been like, I'll just write it myself. I'll just direct it myself. I'll just do this myself. I'll just produce it myself. I'll just hire my own dancers. I'll just earn the money. I'll just call everybody up and I'll be like, come do this thing with me. Like, I can do that. So then I started creating short films. I would write them, I would produce them, I would star in them. And then I wrote my first feature film because I felt like all the festivals I would go to were really honoring the feature filmmakers. Like those were the real, it was their party, and then you somehow got an invite as a short filmmaker. And I was like, that's what I need to be doing. So I made my first feature film. I got this incredible director and went to South by, and suddenly I was gifted this thing that I never asked for, which was a writing career. And I did not anticipate, because I I didn't even know what a literary agent did. I didn't even really know how to write a screenplay. I was just kind of winging it the whole time. I just knew that I had a lot of ideas and I had a lot to say and that I had to keep moving and I had to keep creating and I couldn't rely upon the wizard anymore because I had already seen the wizard and he had no power. So it was like suddenly when you're in the Wild West and you don't know up from down, anything is possible. I'm just going to try some shit. So and then I got this writing career and then it has moved very quickly. My life has moved really quickly ever since I made my first feature film, M.F.A. And we could talk about that forever.
That's the name of it? M.F.A.?
Yeah.
My
I
first
love
film
that.
is called M.F.A. Yeah.
Okay.
About your college experience?
So
or-
yeah, it's about an art student who is, trigger warning, she is assaulted in art school and it kind of unlocks this rage but also this artistry within her and she starts murdering all the campus rapists.
True story?
No, I mean I will say that's a good question. That came from a lot of my experience in the music industry. Being in these really tough, and this is what my next film is about, the one that I'm writing now, is being a young woman as a pop singer. And the way where I came up, it was Madonna and Michael, it was Britney and Christina, it was you're gonna wear a little belly top, you're gonna push your tits up, your blonde hair, sex on a platter. That is your job. Kitteny, keep it vibey, keep it friendly, keep it giggly. And that's why it's interesting that like when people ask me why I wasn't always directing, I'm like, I don't even think I knew that was available to me.
Right.
You know, it was more than anything, it was covering up my intelligence than trying to exploit it in any way. And so I was always in a lot of scary situations in the music industry, really scary stuff that I would never wish upon a young girl. And I don't talk about it a ton because I don't want my mom to feel like this is why we didn't want you to do this. We wanted to avoid this. We thought we could avoid it by you being older. But no, I mean, you guys know probably better than anyone, like a lot of recording is like late at night. It's like, let's smoke weed.
Well, and HR isn't in the room there.
There's no HR.
You know?
Quite the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're
Whatever
often...
the opposite of HR is,
Yeah.
that's the music business.
Yeah.
It was very common for me to be the only girl in the room.
Yeah.
It's very common for me to be 10, 15 years younger than everyone. It was really common for me to be called to the studio at midnight. And it was like... And honestly, 9 times out of 10, you're just there to sing. Get in the booth. We're trying this. Get in the booth. We're trying this. Try this. Try that. And it is creative, and it is a cool spot. And but it's also a scary spot, and you cannot differentiate between this is dangerous or this is a typical night of recording and wanting to be witnessed, doing what you do. So that M.F.A. and just seeing all the news stories about women being assaulted on campus and the campus is covering it up and the system being broken and villainizing women that speak out and traumatizing them to the point where they will, crack, truly, and sometimes take their own lives because the shame is too much that we put on women and young women specifically in this story. So I was angry, you know, and I was channeling my rage, and we made that film, and it was a small film. I shot it back at Chapman. I begged the president. Thank God, President Doty, remembering me from being a little feral mountain goat running around Chapman when I was there, and they gave me the campus for free. So it was
That's awesome.
They enabled that dream for
Supporting
me.
the alumni.
Yeah.
Truly did.
Yeah.
I think if it was like USC, they'd be like, fuck off.
Yeah. Probably, probably.
What have you done?
Yeah.
Failed record deal? Nothing.
Give us your alumni donation and we'll consider.
Truly.
$1,000 monthly in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know if that would do it for them.
Yeah. That is, I had no idea that you had such a background in music.
Yeah.
I just never realized.
It's so weird in this industry, and I think I go around, not to be like, I'm so famous, but a lot of places that I go, I run into people I've known, and it's because I went to college down here. I had I had a career in the music industry. Then I was an actress in acting classes, on sets. Then I was a writer. Now I'm a director. So I've had many, like you said, lifetimes. I'm Kat here.
Yeah.
And I have different communities. And some people only know me as a singer. And they're like, you're writing movies now?
Interesting.
Some people only know me as a writer. They're like, you're an actress? Some people are like, oh, you're an actress. Like, wait, you sang? Like, it's always like, and I've always seen myself like a Michael Jackson, like a Madonna, doing a bunch of different things.
You're an
And
artist.
Yeah.
You're an
just
artist.
like I always thought that growing up, I was like, everybody does everything,
Yeah,
you know?
totally. Not the case, but you know what you know as a kid.
Right.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say too, just about everything that we have chatted about today. It's like this pressure that we put on ourselves as artists to be here at this point or at this age, or to it can be crippling.
Oh, yeah.
And like it's happened to me. I've been a victim to it over the years. I've taken drugs to mask that, self-medicated.
Sure.
But then when you like, thank you, Lexapro, when you like look at your life differently and go, oh, I get to sleep in every day. I get to make art. I get to, I don't have to do the stressful things that look awful that some people have to go through, So pat yourself on the back for whatever you've, achieved, is the lesson that I took away from last year for myself.
I do. I mean, I would say, I wonder if you guys can relate to this. I think having struggled as much as I have and having died the different times that I have and having to pivot and pivot and pivot and pivot. Well, now I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to do this. The only thing I'm not doing is going home. So I better find my way, whether it's a window or a back door or a side door, like you're letting me in somehow. I'm getting in this house. But because of that, and because I have been so rejected and so broke and so on the brink so many times, I really do appreciate being able to pay my mortgage. I really do appreciate anytime somebody says to me that they saw my work, or like they know who I am, or they're a fan. Like that shit means so much to me. And I think of people like Selena Gomez that have been famous since they were like 5 years old. That must be so overwhelming because you haven't even found your footing to know, is this something I even want? Did I even choose this for myself, or did like life choose this for me? I know that I chose this.
Yeah.
Because it would have been too easy. I could have left this business a zillion times and nobody would have remembered me, And so because I've had to reinvent myself over and over again and demanded a career, like I know it's mine.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's a million opportunities to wrap it up, to call it quits.
All the time.
And it's funny, on our episode with Emily, we were talking about this same kind of idea. We were jokingly like, don't follow your dreams, but like to the idea of like, don't follow your dreams, follow the open doors. And obviously like the dreams, I mean, the passion is what leads all of that. But it's like when life presents those opportunities, like you were saying, like you didn't ever even think about having a career as a screenwriter.
No, yeah.
And so, but it's like life sort of unveiled this path to you, and you were like, oh, this is interesting. And would you say songwriting would have been your gateway into writing in general?
Yeah. I love
it's like,
that.
It's like that experience of which you went through as a young musician is what led you into this other thing. And you were also open to follow where life was sort of navigating you. Whereas I think a lot of people oftentimes are so focused, and this is what we talked about, are so focused on like this one specific thing they want, and sort of don't recognize a lot of these other opportunities that are presented them along the way, but for whatever reason they don't engage them. It's like there's so little we ultimately have control over. Like there's so many other factors at play with everything in life, but more particularly like the creative entertainment business. It's like what you have control over is your own faculty, your own skill, your own ability, your own consistency, your own willingness to show up to whatever degree that may be. And pretty much everything else is in the hands of something else.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to, going through my own journey, it's like getting into therapy last year and stuff, I've learned so many things about myself, but as a result of various things in my childhood, like control is always like a big thing I am grappling with in life. But there comes a point where it's like you have to become comfortable with being in that place of things not being controllable.
Totally.
And being willing to sort of trust the process and trust and have faith that what you're doing and being honest with yourself too, like, am I doing the most that I can? Am I fully maximizing my potential and capability? But if you can honestly say to yourself, yes, I am, then it's like you just have to have faith in that and have to really go where life leads you. Like, so most of the successes that I have had that were like really game changing for me were not even things kind of like what you were saying that were on my radar. Like, it's like they just came and it's like, this is an opportunity, and you take that and you know, the love for what you do and I mean, you obviously have the entrepreneurial spirit of we were actually saying this in the car a few minutes ago before you got here. If you want a job done right, you got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And it's so true though. It's like it's I mean, that's why we started Rockosaurus Records like 7 years ago, was that idea. I mean, and sort of piggybacking off of what you were saying as far as the whole gatekeeper framework. It was like, you know, producing these records that are signed to these various indie labels and majors, and just seeing how that stuff gets pushed either through or away from the system, and realizing it's like, if they can do this, we can do this.
Totally.
And it's like, you see what works, see what doesn't work, you learn from all of these various things, and then you pick it up and just do it yourself, and you learn more through that process.
Yes.
And it's like things go well and then things go bad, and you learn from all of it. I think particularly you really learn from the stuff that goes
Doesn't
bad.
go well.
Yeah, it's like those are where the real
Yes.
major lessons are. And yeah, I mean, it's like all of this around us, outside of nature, it's just people that are no smarter than
Oh my God,
any of us.
totally. So
and
true.
and it's like, if I don't know how you feel about like Steve Jobs, but like he has a quote that he's like, whenever you realize that the world is impressionable, and when you poke at it, it responds. And it's everything around us, kind of what I was just saying, is made from people no smarter than you or I. And it's so true. It's like it's I think a lot of narrative, in particularly like even in a school system or whatever, it's like a lot of it can be really disempowering from the individual. It's like,
Yes.
fall into the system, like
Right.
like be the cog in this machine to keep it all going. But it's like, that doesn't have to be the case.
No.
It's like, it takes a lot more work to, have an entrepreneurial spirit and figure out all of these other surrounding things.
Yeah.
But it's completely possible and capable of doing. But we need a joke now.
That was a sermon. Amen. Amen.
Yes, Lord.
But yeah, I mean,
Don't ever, for any reason,
ever
do anything to anyone
other than
ever. Not Office humor.
Office reference.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Michael
guys.
Scott.
Don't watch The Office.
Yeah. Well, it's
I know,
okay.
I know it's very comforting
Yeah.
for most people. As
Yeah.
you know, I'm a reality TV.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah,
reality
yeah.
TV whore.
Yeah.
Self-professed.
Love that. Love that.
So what are the things that you're working on right now? What is like on the current agenda for Leah?
I want to say I was just processing what you were saying about what Steve Jobs said. I used to feel that no one in this business wanted me. There was this feeling like maybe I'm not good at this. Like I'm trying so many things. I have been hustling since I was a kid. I have been hustling, trying to break my way in. And maybe they just don't want me. Like maybe they're just like, we don't know you. You don't belong here, right? And it took me years to realize that wasn't the case. They just didn't know who the fuck I was.
Yeah.
And this idea that it's just people that make up this business and every business and this globe, right? And it's easy to get in your head and go, oh my God, I'm the problem. I'm not any good. Like I don't belong here. And when you realize that I used to do these mass emails of my headshots to every agency, including CAA and UTA and all the huge agencies that I had no business emailing, right? Get no responses. And I was like, oh God, it's because I suck. It's because I'm not pretty enough. It's because I don't have the credits. It's because I'm not skinny enough. All those things, right? All the demons speak to you. And then now, I know a lot more people and they're very nice to me. You know what I mean? And I go, oh, it wasn't that they didn't want me. It's that they'd never heard of me.
Yeah.
My work had not caught up with my dreams. Like you can't build a reputation on the things that you're gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have any sort of reputation. They say it's who you know. It's like, no, it's who knows you, right?
Totally.
And that work takes a few years to start spreading out and sending ripples and making fans. So my only thought, as far as if anyone's listening to this, regardless of the industry that you're struggling through, fighting through, it's to try not to go to those places where you start to feel that your work isn't good enough. Sometimes you just need to be creating more of it.
Yeah.
And sending it out further.
Facts.
Fighting for the reach.
Yeah.
Fighting to share it with as many people as possible rather than course correcting your artistry.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're doing the exact right thing. Look at Chapel Roan, right? Chapel's been doing this forever. I was listening to her album before anybody was. I was
You have one of her
grateful to
songs
get. I do, and I was grateful to
in
get
Scrambled.
it before it was
Popped off.
unaffordable. I'm grateful we could afford it on my little indie film, but I look at her and I'm like, she was doing the exact right thing.
Yeah.
It just hadn't quite reached the people that needed it just yet.
Totally.
And then once it did, boom.
It's that element that's the unpredictability. It's the uncontrollable. It's like you don't. This is such a big world, and it's such a small world, but it's also such a big world that it's like there's so many things that we just don't have sight of on the macro view, and
That's
why you do psychedelics.
Exactly. You got to have fun in the meantime.
That's right.
And
That's how you do it.
But I have relatively recently gone through a big inner revolution of my own in relationship to this. It's like, I think so many people are so, eager to make it or whatever, that it's like a lot of times the thing that matters the most, which in this instance, the creations is what oftentimes can be really undervalued. Like it's like that is the vehicle.
Yeah,
like that
right.
is the vehicle, and the process of doing that and enjoying. Instead of placing the emphasis on the arrival, and because that's another thing I realized, there is no arrival. That is a moving goalpost that moves every time you think you get to a arrival point. Any major like moment I've had never feels how you think it's going to when you're in that moment. Oh my God, like it's you just, that goalpost moves another 100 yards down the field. And so it's like, if that's the goal, you're always going to be disappointed because there's no arrival point. This is a journey with no end zone, and therefore the focus needs to be for sustainability and just to enjoy it. Because also, if you're not enjoying doing this, like there's a million other things like this. This is something, if you're going to go through the path of becoming an entertainer, it's going to be really hard. And so you better really ultimately enjoy creating, because if that's not going to, I don't know what else could get you through. But placing that emphasis on the process and the creation, and really putting the energy into that, because that's when that is the key emphasis, and getting things made and getting things out there. That's when people are going to be so much more interested in being involved with you and wanting to collaborate and do all of these things. It's like it's like that idea, you have to become what you want to be. Like you have to actually do it. Like you have to get on the ground and get your hands dirty. And to the idea of what you're saying, nobody's just going to come give you anything. Yeah. You gotta dig it out the mud. Yeah. Like, if
you want to make movies, you gotta be making movies.
You gotta do it. You have to actually do it. Yes. You can't wait for any opportunity. You have to take all of it into your own hands. And I feel like especially today, even more so. And it's probably always been the case, but in the climate that we're in of just so much material being out there, it's like, I mean, like hearing, like even like with like Vanessa's work and hearing like who they have in discussion, like these bigger companies, it's like the people that they're interested in hiring are people that everybody who are already in the movies and that are actually doing it. It's so rare that, people are just going to give a huge opportunity to somebody that they just don't know or is not doing it on one degree or another. Yeah. So it's like the emphasis is...
I don't know. I'm still holding... I think I can be in a feature. Major feature. I'm ready. I have zero credits.
You could. You just need a couple more songs out there.
A couple little...
Yeah, a couple more.
Yeah.
And you're there.
Little couch sessions.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's weaselly way, the good old fashioned way.
Yep.
Get on in there.
I got a smooth butt.
Freshly waxed.
So do I.
Freshly waxed, yeah. They moved the European Wax Center from like right down the street from me. It's out of business, or they pulled out.
Is your butt hairy now?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I mean, I'm not gonna drive to Miracle Mile or wherever the nearest one is.
Hell no. Miracle Mile.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm in WeHo. It's not far, but
it's not far at all.
It's far enough.
Like, that's actually really close. But speaking of what you were saying, you're like, there is no arrival. There's no arrival, or is there thousands of arrivals?
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
Like, I always think about that, how there was an arrival when you stopped working a million day jobs. Mm-hmm. When you were able to sing and pay a bill. Mm-hmm. Like, there was an arrival when I got my first co-star on a TV show, and then it got cut and never even made it in the show. And I told everybody to watch me. But I still earned that, that arrival. And I
Yeah.
think what's really hard is when you stop recognizing the arrivals, and you
for sure.
and you're
For
just
sure.
like, it's a job, and it's not, because your eye is so fixed on the milestone that you imagined up in the sky that you haven't reached.
Yeah.
That you're not seeing all the steps, how high up in the sky you are from all
For
the
sure.
millions of arrivals. So that's what I'm really trying to do, because I get so frustrated with the business of what I do now. Now that I'm behind the curtain.
You're Oz.
And I work with now, right? Now that I live in
You're the
Emerald
wizard.
City, right? And I do this for a living, and I have my studios that I work with, and the notes, and the actor meetings, and the, all this stuff that seems glamorous when you're not doing it, but it can feel very political and soul sucking when you're in it. I try to remind myself, like, this is the dream.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, babe, that it doesn't look exactly like you thought it would, and
Yeah.
that you wish you were doing this, and that person got this, and I wanted this, and I wanted. Guess what, babe? It's never gonna look exactly like
it.
that. So
Yeah.
you can start enjoying the fact that you can pay for brunch for your friends.
Yeah.
And that
And create your own journey.
And create my-
your
yeah.
own universe because that's when you're observing like that, you're observing from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
There's people observing you from the outside. And like that opportunity to create your own universe and world is like, you're one of a kind. Every one of us is an individual with our own set of magic. And
Yes.
that's opportunity to harness magic and to create things that don't yet exist out there in one way or the other.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's another, I mean, in therapy, that was a big point we did talk about too.
Like, look at the studio. How many like high school kids would have like died for a like this would have been my dream is to go to this dope back house, and it's like it's all the gear, it's a beautiful piano, it's a beautiful drum set, I got speakers everywhere, I create there's lights, there's beautiful like that. This in and of itself is a dream come true.
Totally.
That you may or
Yeah.
may not. Your younger self is freaking out, and I try to do a lot for my younger self, and I go, if I'm disappointed in something and I'm like, this did not turn out, and this process was a nightmare, and this person is a nightmare, and then I just go, Leah, you got to do this thing
Yeah.
that you dreamt of as a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
And my 16-year-old self would be crying, screaming, freaking out, so excited that this is a real thing that's happening.
Totally.
You know?
100%. 100%.
It's like trying to find, not to be like super Barney about it, but it's like,
No, it's true.
You know?
And I mean, I like in therapy, like we were talking about this specific thing, like just exactly what you're saying, like recognizing what has already been done
Yeah.
and respecting that and
Yeah.
having gratitude for that and not overshadowing it, downplaying it, taking it for granted, whatever it may be, like really recognizing those things and have the gratitude and gauge your perspective, because it is so easy to like, it's like once you have a familiarity and it's something that's part of your life, it's like, oh yeah, that's that thing. It was part of my life.
Right.
And not recognize it for the value of which it truly
Yes.
holds. And it's like you can't discredit, like we're saying, like your own journey and your own story that we're all crafting for
Yeah.
for all of us.
hell yeah.
And it's and if you can keep that in a healthy perspective, it can ease a lot of those anxieties, the unworthiness or whatever else
Right.
it may be. Like it's because those things they're gonna take whatever opportunity they can to reel
yeah.
their ugly faces. So it's like you gotta have all of those tools in place
Totally.
to maintain a stable mindset.
Right. I constantly oscillate between feeling that I don't have enough
Yeah.
and feeling that I have too much and I don't know why. It's like imposter syndrome, and then I'm a victim, and I'm like, I should be there, and you should have given me this, and then it's like, I don't know why you gave that to me.
Yeah.
I guess that's just what it is to be an artist. It's
sure.
it's a mess.
Yeah.
In there, but I also just go, what's that great quote? To be an artist in and of itself is a success. You know,
100%.
to be
just even have
able-
that capability.
Yeah.
Like take away
Totally.
any economic relationship
Yes.
to it. Just having the ability to pull things out of nothing. That's a gift. That's
Yeah.
a gift that a select few people really have. And when you're in a community of artists, it's easy to
to
lose
forget
sight
that.
of that.
So true.
Yeah, but it's
So true. We all do it
yeah.
together, and we're all in various stages of our careers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Steve Martin has this great quote that I always tell people when they're about to embark on their first script, or if they've just completed their first script. He says, "I think I did okay considering I started with a blank page." You know, all of
Gangsta.
us.
Yeah.
I think I did okay considering I started with air
Totally.
and an
Yeah.
instrument or a pen.
Yeah.
Wow.
You
I
know?
love that.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Also, literally just earlier, I saw this like thread that was like a compilation of like the worst music reels this dude could find. And like they were just like all so bad, like just like the shittiest things ever. And then I thought this is funny in relation to what we were talking about. Like a comment below it was like, this whole time we thought the gatekeepers were keeping us down, but in reality, the gatekeepers were saving us from all of this terrible stuff.
Man,
no.
I love comments.
I mean, the comment section is
Yeah.
where
It's
all
really
the,
where it's
the
at.
good stuff is.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, that the comment section, not always, because
Yeah.
it can be quite cruel.
can get dark,
and I
for
don't
sure.
believe
Yeah,
in
for
that
sure.
because I really admire anyone that's willing to
Put themselves
create
out
a
there.
musical reel and
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
up on the internet for judgment, because I am a singer that had a record deal and I'm like, I cannot sing and put it on the internet. Like, that is so scary to me.
Well,
even-
now that we know this has to happen, we're
Yeah.
going to
Figure this out.
very
We're
much
gonna figure
advocate
it out.
this.
For
Yeah.
sure.
You're a hoot and a half, and I want to be your friend.
Oh my
So,
God, we're friends,
yeah.
Bren.
Yeah.
I'm so there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Hoot and a half. Is that
yeah.
a Southern thing? It's so
Oh,
cute.
it's very southern.
Oh,
yeah.
it's so cute.
Hoot and a half.
There's just
yeah.
a couple old Southern boys
yeah.
in here.
Yeah. Yeah. We just basically
Got our
talk
golden
ab-
retriever and
we talk
just
about golden
talk-
retrievers and Walmarts and adjacent communities. Yeah, it's just
a lot of food
basically-
talk, a lot
yeah,
of drugs
yeah.
talk, a lot of sex talk.
Yeah.
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 Gee,
I
this
had
is all
never
the-
been to Walmart, and I did a job in Oklahoma, and I went to Walmart, and I was so excited. It was so huge.
Yeah.
I bought slippers, and I bought frosting, and I just like walked in there for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It was
You
the
could do it for
hugest-
2 hours for sure.
Like, where I come from in San Francisco, we don't have.
There's no
that.
Walmarts at all in
No,
San
no,
Francisco.
no.
Oh, probably
Crazy.
in the
Maybe outside of
outskirts.
San Fran,
Like,
like-
there's Walmart in Burbank here.
But that's the only one.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Walmart are definitely
Yeah.
far more infrequent.
It's more
here than
Midwest.
over there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more Midwest Southern stuff. But yeah, I mean, that was our activity growing up.
Yeah.
Go to Walmart and run around the clothes section and fucking
don't-
raise hell.
So
We didn't
Fun.
have. I mean, it was farmland where I grew
Go
up.
frog gigging.
Yeah. Frog
Did you go
gigging.
frog
Ride four
eating?
wheelers.
Frog
yeah,
gigging.
all of.
What's gigging?
So, like, certain times of the
Would
year,
you sing to them? You
Yeah,
get
you-
gigs in front of the frogs like the goat
you
guy?
actually got to be
The
real
elephant?
quiet. Actually,
Oh.
Quite the
they
opposite.
like to the bullfrogs like to hang out around the edge of the pond at dusk.
Cute!
And you take now we were really high tech with it. My dad used to be a coal miner, so he had all like the gear, like a coal mining
Yeah,
hat
yeah.
with like the light on it. And we had like a little.
I
pack.
saw Chernobyl.
Yeah, that gear.
I know what
we
it
literally
is.
had that gear. So we were really high tech with it, but basically when you shine that light in their eyes, they won't move. Like it kind of
like
just
frozen?
temporarily freezes them, blinds them.
Okay.
And then you just take like a long pole or what's called a gig with like
Oh, no.
three, like a little trident.
Go in the
This must
opposite
be
of
some
where-
country shit, isn't it? Oh, no.
Yeah.
You would kill the little beautiful
But you eat 'em.
frogs?
You eat them. Yeah.
Eat them?
Frog legs.
They're delicious.
You put
Fry
them
'em
on
up.
fire?
Yeah, fry them or grill them.
Everything's fried
They
down
taste
south.
like a cross between fish and chicken, like almost like a hybrid of fish and chicken together.
Amphibian.
Yeah, I mean,
This
it
is
is
reminding
that.
me of watching Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
Have you
I
seen
never
that
saw
show?
that.
I have, and I almost wonder if I would be like, I don't have a lot of survival skills necessarily,
do.
but
Sounds
I
like you got
could
this.
probably like rig it up for like a few days where I'd be all right.
I feel pretty confident if the apocalypse happened, we could get our little
We could
gang
all-
together, get
yeah.
into the mountains,
Yeah.
and
Be
Okay.
survive.
But yeah, frog
got
gigging,
this.
it's great. Yeah, it's actually pretty high cuisine, like French.
Yes,
French
frog legs,
cuisine
for
has
sure.
frog legs. Yeah,
Yeah. Louisiana.
Yeah. I've
You
spent
getting
a
some
lot of
frog
time
legs
in
down
NOLA,
Louisiana?
so they love it there.
yeah.
Wow. Well, I've heard of cow tipping
Yeah,
Cow-
that's a
I never
thing.
went cow tipping.
I never
but
did
was,
that
was
either.
A thing. That
Yeah.
was a thing for
because
sure.
it's cruel, right? Because they
Yeah,
can't get up.
yeah. Well, they're
Well, I think they could probably get up.
they can. They're sleeping, and you tip them over.
Oh.
yeah.
There's a little tease.
Yeah, it's a
Too much
little tease.
teasing.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I grew up in the city of San Fran.
Yeah.
And so people were always like, I'm from this small town where nothing happened. You probably had so much fun growing up. And I was like, no, we couldn't. We were doing the same shit that you guys were doing. We're driving around in our Corollas.
Yeah.
We're hanging out at the In-N-Out parking lot. There's
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't. San Francisco is built for adults.
Yeah.
So I guess it was cool in the sense that there was like, for Halloween, I would go to the Castro, which is like the
Yeah.
gay area, and I'd see guys giving each other blowjobs in the windows
Fun.
and a lot of drag
Brennan.
performance.
Yeah, I was there.
and-
Yeah.
He's 15.
Oh, love that. So I knew I recognized you. But I guess there was like a lot of culture in that way, but we're doing the same shit. We're bored.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
I
can't
had
really
had
go
the
anywhere.
opportunity to go, I'll push back on that a little bit. Had I had the opportunity at 15 to go and look at some guys getting sucked off in the window live, besides looking at it on dial-up internet at
Okay, yeah, I
speed,
guess that's true.
I would have had I'd be a movie star right now.
Be like, I could do that for the camera.
Yeah.
You know, it's not too late. Join us.
Benny has encouraged me before to make an OnlyFans.
I'm very
You'll get
fascinated.
your farm. You'll get your farm real quick.
Why not? Do you have beautiful feet?
I really do.
Start with feet. Yeah, start. I never
really
even thought about
actually
that.
do.
Wait, this might be
I really
the
actually
move.
do.
Yeah.
My feet are really nice.
Yeah, you don't have to put your wiener in it. Just put your feet up.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Nobody wants to see your wiener. They just want to
Yeah.
see your feet.
Yeah.
Your gorgeous, perfect feet.
Yeah.
Elven
Never even thought
feet.
about that.
Some people do some shit on there.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurial minded.
Truly. I would have done it. Oh my God. I think about this all the time, actually. I've never talked about this in an interview. But if OnlyFans existed, when I first moved to LA, I was a pop singer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been living in a shitty apartment in Burbank. I would have had like a dope penthouse in like
Yeah.
Beverly Hills.
Living
like
in the hills.
Because you don't need to have sex or like masturbate. You just need to be
Yeah.
sexy and do sexy stuff and
Yeah.
like do your thing. I would have had my my fan. I would have like really.
Some
that
people do
was
the ASMR stuff. They're just like,
totally all kinds of shit. Oh yeah, I would have had my whole thing, my whole get. Maybe I would have worn a mask. Maybe I would have sang.
Is that ship sailed?
Yeah, now I'm like trying to be taken seriously.
Yeah, now
that's
like,
what's
you've
really
got
hard.
Reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in that transitional period where sometimes I still want to just be like sexy and a mess, like chaotic. And I'm not married or having children just yet. You know, I still feel young. I still
mean, you
feel
are.
wild.
We're still young, despite how
Right?
it feels.
I hope that never goes away.
I know.
I like to party. Yeah. I like to be. I like to have
Maintain a
fun.
youthful spirit. That's your key to make it to 100.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't really want to live to 100, but
I
that's the
sleep
key
a
to it.
lot. Like I'll sleep 10 hours a lot
yeah.
of days.
Yeah,
so
me
like
too.
I
I
get a
sleep a
lot
lot.
of rest. Like I feel good.
Sleep
I
is good.
exercise a lot. I feel young. You know?
Hell yeah.
I mean, we are young.
We
but-
are young.
Yeah. We're going to look back
we're
on this
getting-
in like 30 years and be like, how were we even questioning
Yeah.
that we
How
were
young we were.
Yeah.
Totally. But also then you're like, oh, well, I'm a director now. And it's hard enough being a woman director. They already want to discredit you. And you want to be like Christopher Nolan in a suit, very proper and English. But I go, well, that's just like not, I can't really deliver that. That's not who I am. So it's like being okay with the chaotic sides of myself and also owning my own intelligence and my own power as a filmmaker. So yeah, it's a little wild right now. It's a little weird. Getting there.
Chartering new territory.
Yeah, it feels like it's so weird because I go, there's so many incredible women directors, but you realize compared to the men that have been doing this, it's just so fewer. It's
Yeah,
so
for
fewer
sure.
that women that have been given the opportunity on a large scale. So,
Well, we're honored to be with one of the pioneers.
not me, but thank you. I'm grateful for all the weird twists and turns that have led me to a point. Because the last thing I'm going to say is just that we talked earlier about Brittany, your gorgeous DM in support. You know, we see
Bren's a very supportive guy.
I mean, she's the best, and she's been through so much.
I read her book and everything. Like, it's awful. Yeah, feel really
It's
bad
a lot.
for her.
Her book is really
Yeah.
a very fascinating
Yeah.
read, but like she's been through a lot,
Yeah.
as we all know. Look at Amy Winehouse, look at Whitney Houston,
Right.
look at Marilyn Monroe. Look at these incredibly luminous, sparkling. Well, obviously Marilyn was a multi-hyphenate, but I just go, if I had actually made it as a singer, like, is that something that I would have wanted? Definitely when I was younger, that's absolutely the only thing I wanted. And now all these falls and all of these detours that just crushed my heart and soul have benefited me because now I have a career for my thoughts and my ideas and my intelligence where men don't get to touch me. You know, I feel
Totally.
much more protected. I got my lawyers, I got my team. And like now I'm so grateful that I no longer feel the only thing that I have to offer is my youth and my breasts and conforming to whatever is trendy in the moment, because that would not have lasted for me.
That for a lifetime sounds miserable.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like it's traumatic if you don't make it. It's more traumatic if you do.
To make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Emily also said. She was like, I wouldn't wish, and she's literally recorded everybody that you could think of. She's like, I wouldn't wish fame like that on my worst enemy. It's kind of also what you were saying. It's like when you are growing up and you imagine what the entertainment business is and all of that, and then once you're actually in it and you really see what the inner mechanisms are, it's not the glamour. It's like a very crazy wild west of a world, and that's similar to like fame. It's like you have to sacrifice a lot of what it means to be a human being to do that.
Yeah.
And you see the effects of that on many people over many years. And obviously, I mean, I don't want to be like too hard on it because it's like, you know, I love great artists and great pop artists and singers and stuff. And so it's like I wouldn't want them to exist or anything, and no ill will, but it's like that's a different existence.
Yeah.
That's a different life.
It's easy to think you want that.
Yeah, on the surface.
Especially when you're young. It's
Oh, for
easy to
sure.
think that that's what will make you happy.
Yeah. Because you got to be grateful for the kicks and all of that life gives you, because it gets you to a place that you ultimately, I think, can be much happier at than you even could have realized before. So what should people be on the lookout for you? What's on the horizon? What's happening?
So a film I wrote, as one of the writers of I Know You Did Last Summer, is coming out next summer.
Nice.
Very excited about that. And then I'm currently casting my next film, which is a lovely rom-com at Netflix. And
Nice.
so excited for that. And actually the film that I'm writing now that I'm finishing up is about the music industry and my time in it, and just dueling pop singers. And it'll be a very, very dark comedy.
Crazy.
Thriller comedy.
Cool.
But I'm really, it's cool to meet you guys and chat and talk about the music industry, because it feels like it's coming up a lot for me right now.
Stoked.
Revisiting it.
Can't wait.
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah, it was awesome to I had no idea that. I knew you sang, but I didn't realize to.
You're like, I thought you sang at karaoke.
Well, like I feel
Shower.
like you know, like you could sing, but I didn't know you had like a whole music industry background.
I know, crazy.
Crazy. Well, amazing. Leah, thank you again.
Hell
We
yeah.
loved
Thank
this.
Ben and Bren.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
thank
we
you
out
for
here.
having me. This was so fun.
Loved it. And
you
I
soon.
know if whoever's made it this far, I know you loved it too. So thank you for listening. And we'll see you next time. Ben and
Peace
Brent
out.
Show. Peace.
Stuff you know and stuff you don't. It's the Ben and Bren Show.